All right. We are the tribes of Israel. We are from that house. We're from the Beit of Yaakov. I was talking today, and I was letting someone know that the people over there that call themselves Israel, they're under a false narrative. Our name, just to be clear, our name is not Israel. Our name is Yisrael. And our family consists of 12 tribes. Not one, not two, not the Yehudis, not the Jews, and the Kohen. No, that's a religion, and that's the narrative that everybody's been pushing. And so we don't want to recognize ourselves or associate ourselves with even saying that you are Israel. You want to say that you're Yisrael. Some guy came over and asked me, was I a Jew? And I said, no. I didn't even give him the pleasure of even saying, oh, well, we are the Yehudi. He doesn't understand what that is. I told him, absolutely not. And he just kind of looked at me. He's looking at my stuff, my menorahs, and I got him guessing. Our job is not to convince anybody of anything. We don't owe anyone anything. We don't owe the world an explanation. What our people have gone through and what we've been through as a people is going to be the answer to all their questions when Yahweh makes it known to them through us who he is. That's what it is. That's the reason why he's been very hard on us, is because we're the example. We're his sons and his daughters, and he had to do what he had to do to us in order to get us right. And secondly, he wants to teach the nations what happens to those who go against what he says. So he has to do that. And to say that someone else is the people to have brought this about the knowledge of him. The goal is to bring us to a knowledge of Yahweh and for the world to know who he is and to know his name. And so we're not interested in being evangelists. We're not interested in being people that go out and spread the good news. No, there's been nothing but literal bad news for us. We're people who have fallen away from the ways of Yah, which brings us into our Torah portion about the tribes of Israel, which I find fascinating, because the things that are being spoken here and to be talked about are things that we should know how to do, but we really don't understand the significance of when we speak. That's what we need to bring out of this Torah portion. Why do better than Moshe the El Dodrashe the Matoth, which is, and he spoke Moshe to the heads of the tribes, of the sons of Yisrael, not Israel, Yisrael, saying, Zay, this is the thing. This is the Hadabar Asher Tziwa Yahweh. This is the thing that Yahweh had Tziwa. This is what Yahweh has commanded. I don't know if you can see my screen, but I clicked the wrong button. Right there, commanded. Okay, it's in its perfect tense. It's called Tziwa. Tziwa. Okay, and what that is this Zadi and this Wa and a Hey. That's the root. Okay, it means a command. All right. Now, if you notice, it's in a PL, meaning it's in a very forceful way. That means that the action is done in a very forceful way. I told you there's 7 ways that something can be done. It could be actively done, or it could be passively done, or it could be what you call reflexive. Okay. So in each one of these categories, 1, 2, and 3, something can happen. Like, it could be a very simple way that can happen actively or passively. Something can be forceful, which is the PL form. It could be actively You actively doing it or someone else is making it happen to you, okay? Or the reflexive is, or the causative. The causative is that you're causing the action to happen or the action is being caused upon you. So either you're doing it or someone else is doing it, okay? You need to understand this, because if you don't understand these things, then you don't know when Yah is talking and how he's talking and what kind of tone he's using, what kind of mood is he in, right? So when we understand these things, when we understand this tava, forgot to tell you, the reflexive is you're going to do the action on yourself, okay? So in each one of those categories, and you can write it down, simple, forceful, or it could be called intensive, okay? Or it could be causative. Let's just say that. It could be a SFC or SIC, sick, if you want to, okay? And then the reflexive. In any one of those categories, it could be you doing the action. That means you're active doing it, doing it, or someone is making it happen to you. That's passive. So if you look at this as two things, it can be applied to that. So that's two ways. Okay, the active and the passive can be in the forceful. That's two ways. The active and the passive can happen in the causative. That's two ways. That's 2, 4, 6, and last but least is reflexive, which means you're going to do the action on yourself one way. There's 7 ways there: 2, 4, 6, and 7. Okay, that's not including if this action is, past, present, or future. It's just telling you what the mood is, what the tense is. And that's part of the grammar. And I think that's very important for us to understand when reading the Torah. Okay. But these things that Yah has commanded, this is the thing that he said, wow, he has put a forceful command on. Okay. This pushing. Somebody tell me, why is Yah speaking to us in this way? What comes to your mind when you think about Yah being forceful? Not simple. And he's not causing you to do it, but he's being forceful. He's telling you what it is. Why is he being so forceful?
To draw attention, to kind of put emphasis on what he's saying.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So that's a great explanation. It's emphasis. It's with it has a lot of strength behind it. Okay. It's like telling someone, not now versus no. See, one is very strong. It's very strong language. And Yah is talking to his people this way simply because he wants to draw emphasis to it, but also to the type of people that he's dealing with. We have to understand who we are as a people and what is inherent to our behavior and our character. As we've been going over the last several weeks and months, we have found out that the people of Israel are a very stiff-necked people. Every tribe had its own problems. There was no one super special in each one of these tribes. Like one son never had a problem. They were all perfect. I mean, Yosef had problems. Yehuda definitely had problems. Reuben for sure had problems. Simeon and Levi were nuts. You know what I'm saying? The other brothers, do you remember they wanted to kill Joseph? So these types of behaviors is in our family. It's in us. And yeah, there are good things, but there's also things about us that are not so good. And we have to be open to hearing when Yah's talking to us and he's telling us, I don't like something about you. And if I told you something, I want you to, do something. I got to tell you in a way that makes you understand what I'm saying. Okay. So verse 2, Ishki Yador. Okay. That means if a man makes, okay, he will make a vow, a nader to Yahweh, or he swears. He swears an oath, means he's severing himself. Okay. Any kind of oath. To bind, right? He's going to swear oath, or he binds himself to some type of agreement on his soul, not based on what his mind is on his soul. Lo, Yakel Debaro, he shall not break any of his words, according to what Hotze that came out from his mapi, from his mouth, he shall do. Meaning every person, every man, listen carefully, he's addressing the men right now. That's why he says ish. He didn't say Adam, he said ish. That's a man, okay? He's letting the man know, if you open your mouth to say anything, to vow a vow to me, you are going to do that. If you make an agreement with me, it's based upon your soul. It's not just based upon your, I give you my word. No, you're literally putting your words, okay, on your soul. You understand? This right here means, this word lasor or laasor, it means to tie up. So what he's letting us know is that words and promises, okay, tie us and bind us to that which we said we were going to do. If you make a vow to Yahweh, is you making a promise to him, you have to keep your word. He will not let anybody go. There is an example that I'm going to read to you here shortly that talks about a man who made an agreement. He let some words slip past his mouth and he put it on his soul and he had to live up to it. And it cost him greatly, okay? So the words that we speak from verse number 2 is telling us that I'm going to hold you accountable to any agreement that you say or any oath. And we read last week, I believe, that Joshua had made an agreement and a covenant with the people who tricked him because they didn't consult Yahweh. They had to keep their word, okay? I need to deal with this verse number 3 and 4 as we continue. A woman, Waisha. Now, this is a woman now. If she makes a vow to Yahweh and binds to some agreement while in the house of her father in her youth, okay, she's still a young woman, okay, she's a Isha, okay, so a Isha is a woman. If this woman, she's in her youth, okay, that means that she's not married, she's in her youth, she's under the authority of her husband, and Washama de Aviha, her father has heard her Nadera and the agreement in which she has bound herself upon her soul. Okay, so this goes both for male and female. And the father, he doesn't do anything, he holds his peace. Then whatever that came out of her mouth, Yah says it's going to stand. And every agreement which she had bound herself, she will be bound, and it will yakum, meaning it will stand. That's what kum means. Kum. Okay, it will stand. It will rise. It will stand just like a stalk of grain. Okay, when it's harvested, it will stand. So he's letting you know. This is a big issue for us because as fathers, we have daughters, and our daughters would say something, and if we don't say anything, we don't address it. God says whatever they said is going to stand if you didn't address it. Is he talking about going and having a conversation with them about it? Not necessarily. He's saying if you hear it and you don't say anything, you have a certain period of time that you have to address this. And he's going to tell us how long he gives the person to do this. And there's a reason why. Verse number 5 says, and if he overrules, and I'm reading from right to left, Wa'im the Hani, the Aviha, Av is father and Ha is her father, Otha, on the Bayom, on the day that he heard the Shemoah, her vows, on her agreements in which she has bound herself to her soul, and not shall it stand, and Yahweh will yislak. He will forgive her, meaning that this right here means release her, but in the Hebrew, yislak, or what they would call salak, okay, not shalak. Shalak is to send. Okay, I think we had one of those as our words before. And salak is to forgive or to pardon. And in this case, Yah says to spare. That's what this word is to spare her from that which she had bound. So Yah is using the father as a safety net for the daughter. If she speaks of something, her father, he doesn't just say, I don't want you to do it because he's just out to get her. It's a safety net in order to protect her from saying something that can do her some harm. So often, in a culture that we're in right now, anytime a father tells his daughter something, is taken the wrong way. You don't want me to grow up. You don't want me to have nothing. You don't want me to do this. You don't want me to do that. And so they look at it the wrong way. Okay. So, but there's a reason for this. So he says her father can overrule what she said. He can totally overrule everything that she said. So that means that she doesn't have any authority on her words outside of her father giving permission for her to say the things that she's saying. She can't make any agreements. Okay. That means, in our case today, our daughter should not be able to make an agreement with somebody without our authority. Is that going to happen? More than likely not. It's not going to happen. And there's an expense for that, though. There's a cost. Okay. We're not a religion. We're a family. And our father is the creator of the heavens and the earth. So he's going to tell us what the consequences are. Okay. Especially too, if they make an oath or an agreement behind the back of their fathers, then that's another issue. Then they're going to be bound. It's literally like a transgression, because it should pretty much let the young daughters know, who's my ruler, who can overrule what I'm saying. The father is the head of that. And verse number 6, and if indeed she takes a husband and her vows while under, or they got this in the wrong way. If she takes a husband, okay, while under her vows, or by a rash utterance from her lips, by which he would be bound in her soul, and he hears this on the day that he hears it, and he makes no response, okay, then it shall stand. It's going to be a yakumu again. Her vows are going to stand. Her agreements in which she has made, bound herself and her soul to, will stand. So again, it's always about whether or not it's heard. It's the Shema. Okay. If he listened to it and he heard it on the day, the bayom. Okay. Ba means on, and then yom is day. On the day that he hears it. Okay. And it has this as in qual infinitive in a very simple way. Infinitive means that he's always listening to what she's saying. It's always, you can't help but hear because you have ears. Okay. So it's not like you can have selective memory. You should literally be always open to listening to what someone is saying. And so, especially your daughters or your wife. Okay. And he said he doesn't make a response. He said, it shall stand. So what is Yah trying to tell us about in a summation? What is he trying to say to us about a daughter and a father? Can somebody give me some feedback? What do you see in it?
I see in it protection for the daughter. Like you said, he's a safety net.
Yes, he's a safety net. He's not just trying to hinder her just for the sake of hindering her. He's there as a protection. Okay. I'm going to get over into, there was another thing I want to bring out about something that the word that was used that said that if she said something rashly, okay, it's called miftah right here. 408 right here. Okay. So he's letting us know, okay, that often the difference between, and this is what men need to understand versus what we need to teach our daughters, especially, and older women need to teach the younger women this too. We have to be careful, all of us, not just the daughter, all of us, that we can't use this type of action, this miftah, okay, because we're Yahweh's people. Miftah literally means it's going to be a quick, unthoughtful, undecisive, unthought, you're not thinking about it. You're just being quick and you're being rash with your mouth. You're just saying something to be saying it. Yeah, I'll do it. It's not something always negative. It could be something that's just, you're motivated, So the father and the husband are like the second voice, I think when I read this, I thought that it's protection for her, but I think overall it's protection for the family. Who would want to see their daughter be bound to something that she shouldn't be bound under? Right. And that would cause her harm or discomfort. And sometimes, you always need that second voice. Anytime you do and this is not just in this case, y'all, it's really letting us know that anytime we do something, it should be someone to go to get a second opinion or a second voice. We shouldn't be rash in our decisions. I don't look at this as just a young girl who's being rash. I think it's a little bit more than that. I think it's for us to understand that we should take our time in our speech. And because of how powerful our words are like ropes, and they can bind us. I mean, I can't begin to tell you how many agreements that, I've been in personally through, business, adventures and stuff like that I bound myself to things, and then I end up getting in a little trouble. Why? Because I was just, I wasn't considering everything before I came into the Torah. I was very rambunctious. I was very excited. I was very nonchalant. Hey, yeah, I can handle it. And then, when you find out that you're in a deal and you can't get out of it because you're signed on and it didn't work out the way that you thought it was, I'm still bound by that agreement, and at one point it was millions of dollars. So I had to find a way, to get myself out of it. And I prayed and y'all helped me out of it. So I mentioned that because even our words are like written agreements with the Creator. Okay. So he's telling us, like, hey, be careful what you say and don't be rash with your mouth. Let me read over here right quick in verse number 8. Yep. I'm going to go English so we can speed it up a little bit more. So, all right. So verse number 9, the widow, the vow of a widow. So then we got another type of woman in here. However, or a divorcee. This word right here, divorcee, is literally not just one who's finished with the divorce, but one who's in the process of a divorce. And the Hebrew, it talks about her being in the process of divorcing, not just divorcee, but in the process, including everything in which she has obligated herself will stand against her. She does not have anyone there to be the second voice or the protection. Okay. If a woman vowed in her husband's house or obligated herself with an agreement, I'm saying that's missing something, and her husband heard it, but he held his peace with her and did not express disapproval, that means he said, I'm not going to frustrate it, then all her vows and obligations will stand. So again, it's about this husband. It's about him hearing it, and he can hold his peace, or he can express some disapproval. Okay. But if her husband makes them null and void, what? Her vows and her agreements, he can seriously say, no, you're not going to do that. You're not doing that. And honestly, a lot of women don't like this. They don't. And I think they don't like it simply because, not because they hate what Yah says. I think they feel insecure with the fact that the type of men that are out here today makes it very difficult for them to put their confidence in them, to be honest with you. And I'm not saying all men are, not someone to be trusted, but I am saying what we've been through as a people is been very difficult for our women to put their confidence and trust, because the enemy has taught our women to not depend on a man and have, destroyed the black man. They have. And they've destroyed them in every possible way they can, so they don't get respected by their wives, and they're not respected at their jobs. They're not respected in their homes. And they're pretty much thinking that we're not, we're nothing. Really, we're all 50-50. And the truth of the matter is that in Yah's eyes, you're not 50-50. You got to be 100%. That's what it is. The male and the female together make the 100%. There is no 50-50. You bring 50, I bring 50. You got 50%. This right here is the Western mindset. This is a Western mindset right here, 50-50. So you're thinking that you're in a business deal, right? It's business here. You get a business, you get a marriage license you got to pay for. You get a divorce, you got to pay. I mean, not to say there wasn't any finance involved in our relationships as a people, but what we understand is this: Yah doesn't look at us as 50-50. Yah looks at a man and a woman as 100%. 100%. Okay. And when a woman, okay, does not have a husband, she's not complete. When a man does not have a wife, he is not complete. Yah said it's not good that a man should be alone. So Yah made him an azer. He made him a helper. And what Yah did was he took what they would call a residual. He took a residual of the spirit or the soul, okay, and he gave that to the woman. That's what he did. He didn't create a new soul. He gave half to the man, and whatever was left over, he gave it to the woman. You understand? And the two shall be one. They should be whole. They should be 100%. They shall be a cod. This is a very touchy subject, with some reluctancy. I try not to talk about it because I don't want to offend anybody, but I will tell you that this is what they would call, Yah calls it, and he wants his people to know this literally, that what we're talking about, everyone, is what you call a kokim, okay? This is a statute. This is a decree of what Yah has said for a husband and a wife, okay? So husbands are the ones who can make these null and void. And someone would say, well, we're not in the land, so that doesn't count. Well, you're going to find out the hard way. Yah is going to hold you responsible, and you're going to bear the consequences of the things that you've done. If you don't want to, and of course, I would preface this with the fact that a man who doesn't follow the Torah, he's not entitled to these benefits. Let's just say that. You're not entitled to these benefits because you're already in wickedness and you're following something outside. So you really don't have any rights. Our rights stand when we are in right standing. When you violate your rights, then you lose your rights, correct? Like if you commit a crime, you have some rights, but if you're convicted of that crime, you lose your rights. See? So in the Torah, Yah says, if you break my Torah, right? You break my Torah and you break my covenant, then you're not entitled to the blessings. You're not entitled to any of those things. It's just the way it works. Yah is about justice and he's about righteousness. So here, the husband, he can make it null and void on the day. He only has that day. The reason why Yah is given a day, okay, until the sun goes down, is simply because he's given the man an opportunity to make a decision. He hears it. He doesn't just fly off the whim and makes, no, you're not going to do that. It gives him time to consider it because, is this going to be good for our family? Is this going to be good for the house? Is this going to be good for my daughter? Is this going to put my wife and all of us in a bad position? And I think in fairness, I really believe this, in fairness, Yah is being fair because everything that Yah does is just and everything that Yah does is right. So he knows not that a woman is minimized and she can't make a decision. It's not saying that. It's simply saying the wife has to give the husband the opportunity. If you hear it carefully, he's given the man an opportunity to be included on the decision or the vow, because the man is bound to either endure that or support that. It's hard to support a person who's made a vow that you know nothing about. It's hard to support a person who's part of a family that they have secret bank accounts. It's hard to find out what's the overall picture of the family when everybody's hiding things. This is what Yah's talking about, because this is a kukim, So, her husband in 13 may let every vow and every binding obligation stand, or he might void it. This is what Yahweh says. This is the tzivah. This is the command. But if her husband entirely holds his peace with her day after day, then he confirms all her vows. He never says anything. He must let them stand because he held his peace with her on the day. But as Yah knows, he says, if he makes them null and void after he's heard them, then he will bear the consequence. Okay. The consequence guilt. It should have said the consequence of guilt. He will bear that. You see, so it's not just on her, it's on him. So sometimes what men do is they hear something, they go right along with it, and then all of a sudden they got, they got some other idea and they're mad. So now they want to take back what they said you could do now, right? Y'all say, no, you're gonna bury that. What guilt is y'all talking about? Y'all's talking about a guilt that has to do with something coming out of your mouth. Okay. So it's dangerous for us as a people. And I need you to hear me very carefully to say anything that you're going to do and don't do it. You are not like the rest of the nations. You can't, they can say stuff. Oh yeah, we're going to do this for you. We're going to give you reparations. Yeah. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to put a crime bill in place. Yeah. We're going to protect you. And they don't do nothing they ever said they're going to do. Do you hear what I'm saying? Does everyone understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. We are a different group of people. So you and I can't afford to say something and not do it. Okay. So verse 16 buttons it up really nicely for us. It says that these are the laws, right? And of course, everyone says, oh, well, you can't keep the law. You're in exile. Okay, whatever. But it's not law. It's not laws. I'm about to show you what it is. Which Yahweh ordered Moshe between a man and his wife. It's not a law. It's a decree. It's a kukim. It'd be kuk. It depends on how it's being conjugated. It's kukim between a man and his wife before Yahweh, and between a father and his daughter, if she's a minor living in her father's house. What's scary is often we hear these things and it makes us uncomfortable and we don't want to do it. And Yah says, and I'm going to give you the part that I said I'm a little concerned with. When we hear these things, we automatically say to ourselves, well, that's not going to affect me. I'm not, I don't have to do that. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to give my husband this type of thing. I'm not going to let my father tell me what to do. Not like that. That's for them. Okay. But if you realize who said it, then you're not going against the Father. You're disrespecting the Heavenly Father. You're disrespecting the King of the universe. Ele, the Hakukim. It's right here in verse 16. Okay. I told you before, and I'll always express it again. These right here is called a koch. It is the ket and the kof. Okay. The ket is the wall, and this is the gather. Okay. So what is gathered? Wall means which is on the outside. Separation. Okay. So that which is on the outside needs to be gathered together. Okay. So Yah is saying this: in order for you to be gathered to me, because this is the things that I ziwah, this is what I commanded Yahweh eth Moshe, between an ish and a laisha, between him and his wife, between a Av and a Levito, his daughter. Okay, while she's living in her father's house. If a man, okay, if a ish despises this, he's breaking the kukim. If a isha, which is a woman, despises this, she's despising the kukim. If a daughter, which is a bath, if the daughter despises this, she is breaking the kukim. If a widow despises this, she despises it. This is where we get in trouble. Okay. I've always warned my daughter. I told her, there's some things I told her, and if she breaks her word or does anything that I told her not to, she's going to bear the consequences of that. It's not that she's just going against what I said. She's going against what the kukim is. You see? So it's a matter of saying, well, I don't want you to be in control of me as my husband. You don't have that kind of authority. Yeah, Yah has given this authority to the husband, the ish. The man has this authority. He can override what has been spoken. And he can't do it out of, if he's following what is fair and just and following the Torah, that's different. And that's something that Yah has to deal with the man on, okay, for whatever reason. And no matter whether he says yes or no, either way, he'll bear the consequences of that. Either if something went bad and he didn't say nothing, he got to bear it. There's nothing he can do. So he has to protect the house. That's why he's there. The man is the father, which is the Av, is the protector. And the daughter is what? The daughter is what they call a Bath. Now, let me see. Why is this ink pen not working? The daughter is called a Bath, okay, which is the letter Bet. She's the house. You have to protect the house, okay? The Ish and the Isha, they're literally the same. Ish is a man, and a Isha, you put that "al" in there, and she's a man with a femininity, period. They go together. That's why they work together. You understand? So this is where the issues come in. Now, let me show you what happens if you and I don't keep our word, okay? Because all this is about promises, and we'll continue during the week, and you will see that all this has to do with us keeping our word to Yah, okay? In the book of Ecclesiastes, okay, I think it's called Koleth, chapter number 5, one of my faves. Chapter number 5 says this. Listen carefully. Just giving us context here is talking about going to Yahweh's house and offering. Say, watch your step when you go to the house of Elohim. Okay. Offering to listen is better than fools offering sacrifices, because they don't discern whether or not they are doing evil. They don't discern that. You just be talking, which is that miftah. Don't just be quick and rash. He says, don't speak impulsively, and don't be in a hurry to give voice to your words before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you are on earth, and so let your words be few. For nightmares come from worrying too much, and a fool, when he speaks, chatters too much. If you make a vow to Elohim, don't delay in discharging it, for Elohim takes no pleasure in fools. So discharge your vow, meaning if you say something, you have to do what you said you're going to do. It's a promise. Better not to make a vow than to make a vow and not discharge it. Let's keep it real. It's better not to make a promise than to make one and not keep it. Don't let your words make you guilty, and don't tell the temple official that you made the vow or the promise by mistake. Why give Elohim reason to be angry at what you say and destroy what you have accomplished? You see, that's what had happened. If you and I speak things and we don't follow through. Tell me something that Israel has said to Yah, and that they said, all that you said, we
will do. Yeah.
We will do. They made a promise. Did they keep their promise?
No.
No, they didn't keep their promise. As a result of that, you and I are here today because somebody didn't keep their word. They said, everything you say we'll do. They didn't do it. So the part of what he told them to do is what we read tonight about the kukim. That's a kukim. That kukim is right there with, the Sabbath. That kukim, there is no difference. The kukim is the kukim. We found out that there's other things. So if you notice, Yah's been giving us kukims and kukims. Every Torah portion, we'll see something where there's, oh, this is a kukim now. Oh, this is a kukim. It's not just one section you can go to and pick it out. The 5 daughters from Zelophehad, Yah established a kukim based on that judgment. So once the judgment has been given, it stands. When Yah gives an approval, it stands. Okay. So listen to this, though. This was the first vow that our ancestor made. One of our ancestors is found in the book of Genesis, chapter number 28, Bereshith, chapter 28. Listen what it says. And this will explain to you about the tithe. So I'm not going to read all of it. I want you to read as your homework, but I will say right here. It was about Yaakov having his dream, and he saw the ladder, and Yah appeared to him in his dream. And, he was really excited about this, and he saw, Malachim going up and down on it. And Yah introduces himself to Yaakov. It says, verse 13, then suddenly Yahweh was standing there next to him, in this dream. And he said, I am Yahweh, the Elohim of Abraham, your father, and the Elohim of Yitzchak. The land on which you are lying, I will give to you and your descendants. Your descendants will be as numerous as the grains of the dust of the earth. You will expand to the west and to the east, to the north and to the south. And by you and your descendants, all the families of the earth will be blessed. By you, Yaakov, and your descendants, which are the 12 tribes of Israel, all the families of the earth will be blessed by us. That's a promise. So 13 and 14 is a promise from Yah. He says, look, I'm with you. I will guard you wherever you go, and I will bring you back into this land, because I won't leave you until I have done what I have promised you. See? So this is one of the key reasons why Yah wants us to be about what we say. Okay. You can't be in a relationship with someone and they're making all the promises and they're keeping their promise and they're keeping their word, but there's no expectation from us that you and I don't have to keep our word. You and I have been lied to and told that all we need to do is sit on our hands and do nothing. And like God love us and we will be forgiven for whatever we do. And that's a mistake. The fact of the matter is Yah's calling to our attention that you and I have to be the people who, when we say something, we mean it, and we're going to have to do what we say we're going to do. Okay. Meaning, let's be careful about the conversations and the promises that we're making. In the real estate game, they said, don't over promise and then under deliver. You're doing a loan program for someone, you make all these promises to them. Then when you sit down, when you're ready to sign the papers for the mortgage, you tell them you're going to get 25,000, they end up getting 7,000 because they refinanced their house. You overpromise and then you underdeliver. So now the person loses confidence in you because what you said doesn't mean anything. Okay. So Yaakov woke up from his sleep and said, truly, Yah was in this Makom. He's in this place. I didn't know it. Then he became afraid. Okay. Which tells me something. Often we say that Yah is with us and then we've had these things, but there has to be a great sense of fear and reverence when Yah does, we have that experience with him, and said, this place is fearsome. This has to be the house of Elohim. And this is the gate of the Shamayim. And so Yaakov got up early in the morning and he took the stone he had laid under his head and he set it upon the standing stone. He poured olive oil on its top and he named the place by it Bethel, meaning the house of Elohim. But the town had originally been called Luz. So Yaakov took this vow. He literally took it or made it. He made a vow. And he says, if Elohim will be with me and will guard me on this road that I'm traveling and giving me bread to eat and clothes to wear so that I return to my father's house in peace, then Yahweh will be my Elohim. And this stone, which I have set up as a standing stone, will be Elohim's house. And everything you give me, this is what he told Yah, I will faithfully return 1/10 to you. So that's the reason why Yah has asked for the 10th of all that which we get from the land and all those things, because our father had previously made a covenant with Yah, a vow with him and said, so did Yah fulfill his promise? He did. And as a result of him fulfilling his promise to Yaakov and keeping him safe and protecting him on his way, especially when he came back down that same road to go home and his brother met him, Esau, and he met him, Yah protected him. And he said, I will faithfully return 1/10 to you. So when Yah ask us for this, okay, from us to give to the Leviim, and the Leviim is supposed to take 1/10 of a tenth to give the Kohanim, what they're doing is they're showing their faithfulness of the vow that their fathers have made. This is the reason why we do what we do. This is part of the character of the tribes of Israel. This is the part of our Father. And if you have any like a morsel or an ounce or an inkling of any kind of faithfulness in you, you're not going to say stuff that you can't do, and you don't plan on doing. Okay. I've made mistakes, and I know that I've said some things and I haven't followed up through with them. Not intentionally, but in the past, I have said some things that I have not fulfilled. And you really shouldn't make a vow that you don't have the ability to fulfill. Okay. So if you see again, just a few days ago, we read about Kanah. She made a vow to Yah. Hey, you give me a son, I'll give him to you. And guess what? Her husband, Elkanah, when that child was at a certain age, did she fulfill the vow? Did she give that child to Yah?
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? So these are examples for us to learn from. We are a special people. We've been called by Yah to be set apart. We're different. So the way that we live, the way that we talk, the way that we act. I mean, I heard a guy just mention the other day, you don't have to learn the Hebrew language. He says there's nowhere in the Torah that tells you have to learn the Hebrew language. That's what he said. And he has people underneath his teaching. There's nowhere in the Torah that tells you need to read the Hebrew. The Creator never commanded us to read the language. And I thought to myself, and he's from Israel, and he's an elder, and I'm not going to disrespect him. I'm going to say this. It's sad that he can't see the benefit of learning the language, because the language determines the culture. The culture is identified with a people. So, and then also too, he's literally saying that Yah doesn't want us to know what he said in the manner that he said it. There's nothing too hard about learning the Hebrew language. I've already shared that with everyone. It's not hard. It takes commitment. It takes study. It takes that kind of stuff, but you don't have to be a Hebrew scholar. The purpose of learning the language is to learn your culture. He said it was never commanded for us to do that. So I guess if it's not commanded to learn the language, right, then we should not know what a PL form is, because that's when you're going to find out what it is. We've taken the time to learn everything else. We've taken the time to educate ourselves. We've gone to school, college, tradesman programs, interested in everything else that everybody puts in front of us. But when it comes down to who we are as a people, if we neglect this one thing about saying it's not required for what they would say salvation. No, but we're not talking about the salvation that the New Testament's talking about. Yah's not saying I'm going to come and get you because you learn the Hebrew language. The Hebrew language is there as a benefit for us to know this is the language that our people spoke. Okay, maybe not in the dialect, maybe not in the pronunciation, maybe not exactly like that. But I'm going to tell you one thing for sure that no scholar will argue me, and I've had conversations with them. They can't get around the fact that the roots of the language have never changed. The Shorashim have never changed. The 3-letter roots and the 2-letter roots have never changed. The pronunciation may have changed. They put vowel points on it to help us learn how to say it. But nothing else has changed. The root is exactly the same. Aretz has always been land. Av has always been a father with the strength of the house, no matter how you look at it. That's what it is. So if we give up on the culture and we just continue to go down the English Western mindset, you and I are going to be directed into the way that they think. I think a lot of people get away from the language because they want to hold on to what they know, and they don't feel comfortable and safe. They feel shaky. They feel less than. I'm never here to tell anybody to feel less than about what you're learning in Hebrew. I never will let you feel that way. We're all learning together, but you have to learn this. What's wrong with knowing what a rev is? A rev is the time of day when the sun has gone down. Why should you know that? because you want to know the mingling of the light. You would want to know that because what they call evening is not our evening. They call day yom. They call it a 24-hour period. Yah says yom is only when there's light. You understand? Oh, there's only one evening? No, there's two. I've already showed it to you and I'll keep showing it to you. There are two evenings. One right when the sun goes down and one when the sun's about to come up. There's two evenings. It's like you got two eyes, you got two evenings, got two ears, two evenings. Okay. So our culture is stemmed in that our people spoke that language. And yes, the Creator never had to tell them to learn the language because that's what they knew. But he didn't speak to them in Greek and he didn't speak to them in English and German and Latin. He gave them the Shemitic language, the Afro-Asiatic language. Okay. And you should want to know. You should want to know how to say shalom, aleka to you. You should want to know how to say, where's my other thing at? What else do you want to say? Somebody tell me something that you would want to say. Let's see what you want to say. Here, let's say it together. Oh, Shienu, Elohe, Yeshenu. Wakwaba Tsenu, Wakwaba, Wakwaba. This is what you should say. Because Yahweh commanded it. Wakwaba Tsenu, Wahatselenu. Minha Goyim. Deliver me from the nations. Is that what I want? Is that what you want? Tell me. Does somebody want this?
Yes.
Do you want to, well, Hoshienu? Do you want Yah to save you?
Yes.
Do you want us to save us? Because Nu is us in Hebrew.
Yes.
Save us, Elohe, of our salvation. That's our salvation. Yah is your salvation. Wa Kwaba Senu. Kwaba means to gather. Kwaba Senu, gather us. Do you want Yah to gather you?
Yes.
Then you need to ask him. Wahatse Lenu. Do you want Yah to deliver us? Us? Nu? Us? Nu? Yeah. Do you? I do. And what? Min means from. From the, that's ha, the what? Goyim, the nations. Now, are you saying it's just for yourself? Are you being selfish? Or are you saying it for all of the children of Israel, our whole entire family? You're saying this and you're practicing this, and I want to encourage you. You're saying, well, Hoshienu, Elohe, Yeshenu, Wa Kwabatsenu. For us. Okay, that's what you're saying. For us. This is for our family. If you love your family, you would ask Yah to help us, to save us, not me, us. It's unlike the Western mind that Christianity tells you to think about yourself. Our prayer should not be for ourselves. Our prayer should be for our people. It should be for the ones that love Yahweh. David said, everybody that loves you, they're a companion of mine. Everybody that hates you, I hate them too, with a perfect hatred. They're my enemy. If they're your enemy, they're my enemy. You see? And if you and I are going to be with Yah, then we're going to have to be these people. And I'm not going to apologize for it. Okay, we get all kind of work policies. People tell you all the time, this is your behavior and your manner. And you get an employee handbook with the conduct in it and tell you if you go against any of these things, there's going to be disciplinary action. And you have a certain amount of times to mess up. And if you mess up, we're going to terminate you. You understand? We're going to come, we're going to consult. And then after we do that, we evaluate, we show you how it's done. You still don't want to do it. We're getting rid of you, period. But we need to be delivered from the Hagoyim, from the nations. So to what? To praise your set apart name, the Lashem, the Quadashikah. This is not how you spell it in Hebrew, but this is how you say it. I want you to remember, I want you to memorize this. Just do it. Hoshienu, Elohe, Yeshenu. Wakabasenu. Wake up in the morning. Wakabasenu Yawa. Wahatselenu Yawa. Dimina Hagoyim Daha. La Hodota La Shem the Quada Shika. Give it to me. I want to praise your name. Because you and I, we have become accustomed to giving Yah what you would call a bootsy, a half measure of praise. We don't really know what that praise is going to be like. You don't know how much of a step, how much a beat your feet going to be on when you're in the land. You ain't going to know what it's going to be like when you see everybody else get burned up around you and you are getting spared. You see? Let's call out to y'all. Let's remember him, and let's remember the set apartness of who he is. And let's change our behavior. Let's try to encourage others. Now, you can't get everybody. They're not going to go with it. You know what I'm saying? But for the sake of our family, this is what you should do it. You should do it for not only for you, but you should do it for those of us who we're all interrelating with. You see, often when I study and I do things, I don't just do it for myself. I don't. I want to make sure that I deliver information that's going to be accurate. Okay. Sometimes I mess up. Sometimes I'm not perfect. But if I mess up, I'll come and tell you I messed up. And I'll say, oh, I didn't really look at that, or I messed up. I thought it was this, but it was really that. And it was never intentional. Okay. So if I ever do make a mistake, don't be like, oh, got him. Like, okay, he made a mistake, and that's what happens. And that's how we all should be with each other. If we make a mistake, just be honest and say, I didn't look at this the right way, you know, and let me fix it. Let me see what I could do to make it right. It wasn't intentional. And that's a good thing to leave off on, to remember that when you're looking at what happens in a situation, the first thing you want to ask yourself was that intentional? And if you know the person's intent and you can kind of dial into that, that should kind of calm you a little bit down in terms of how do you respond? Because people generally, the people that love you is not going to do something intentionally. But the people that are against you, those are the ones who do things with intent to do it. And this is what Yah says about those who love him and those who don't. This is why those sins and mistakes that are made are forgiven. But those that are done intentionally, there is no forgiveness for that. You understand? So there's two things, intentional and unintentional. Okay. So we have to be careful on how we deal with each other. So let's be, open to each other's errors and mistakes that we make, because we're all still learning. Hallelujah. Wow. Praise be to our King and our Creator, the Most High Yah. Any remarks? I'll tell her bye. Yes. Thank you, Akoti. Good to see everyone. Anyone say anything? Hello?
No, you said thank you. I said Bepakasha.
Oh, Barakashah. Somebody's on it. Somebody's speaking that language. Yeah.
I'm trying.
No, but see, it's little things like that makes all the difference. When you guys go out and you eat and stuff, you'd be like, hey, Barakashah. And people looking at you like, what? And you talking about, look at the goyim. They'd be like, right, hey, the goyim, right? Say stuff like Tameh. And they'd be like, what? What did he just say? I say, look at these unclean people. Or something's good. Tamim. This is good. This is really good. This is complete. Awesome. All right, everyone. Well, you have a wonderful evening, and